All right, welcome everyone. My name is Eric, and welcome to today's info session from Neotech Academy. We're going to talk about how to get a career started in IT. Not only that, but why you should get a career started in IT. And we're going to talk about our boot camp, which is really it really is a life-changing experience, a life-changing boot camp, because people have taken our boot camp from all over the world and I mean many different countries, and they came to us with no background in IT whatsoever. In most cases, some cases they did, but in most cases they didn't. And we were able to give them this skill set after only 6 months and then help them land a job on top of that. So we do everything we can, not only to educate you and give you this skill set, but also to help you land that first job in the IT industry. So we're going to be talking about all of those things today. We're going to try to keep this at about an hour or less. So you should be able to get all the information or most of the information that you need, within that hour. We also have one of our alumni who's going to be joining us. His name is Gherkin, and Gherkin is going to be telling you about his experience, how he came to us in a situation very similar to a lot of you who are here today wondering, who are these guys? Can they help me? Can they, help me change my life, and start doing the things that I really want to do and getting a career started in IT. So he was in your situation. You'll be able to ask him questions and you'll learn about his experience. So we're going to be covering all of this over the next hour. And a couple things I'll mention right here at the beginning, and I'll probably repeat this a couple of times. I get this question quite often. Does it matter what my background is? And like I was saying a moment ago, no. I mean, companies in the IT industry, what they care about is, can you do the job that we're going to train you to do? So your background doesn't really matter. We've had people from all walks of life become our students. I'm noticing a lot of people in recent last couple of years, probably more so than before, in the medical field, making a transition to IT, education. People who were teachers. Sometimes teachers, man, it can be so overwhelming being a teacher. A lot of the teachers feel like they're underpaid for what it is that they do, and they're probably right about that. Putting up with things that they just get tired of putting up with, and they're like, man, I need to get paid what I'm worth. There are folks out there who have, I guess you would describe them more of like a blue collar background, and they're making a transition, to the IT industry. So your background doesn't matter. We're going to talk about this a few times. Even your education. A lot of people think, well, I've got to have a degree in IT. No, you don't. You don't have to have really any degree in most cases, because again, what companies care about is, can you do the job, which again, we're going to train you to do. We'll have you doing projects and we'll help you out with your CV, your resume. And those projects will give you the experience that you need to help you land that first job. Does it matter if English is not your first language? Again, I'm going to say no, it doesn't really matter, but should you be able to communicate in English? Yes, of course. Yeah, you want to be able to communicate. Don't worry if English is your second language or your third language and you're not really an expert in English. As long as you can communicate, you're fine. Age, that's another big question people have. A lot of people are making transitions, I hate to say later in life, but they've had a career, for like 20 years or 30 years. And I get this question too. What if I'm in my 40s or 50s or 60s? Can I make that transition into IT? And the answer is yes. You just have to have the desire to do it. Leave everything else up to us, though. We'll get you trained properly. We'll help you land that first job as best we can. Our tuition is very minimal, and we'll talk about the tuition after we go through our interview with our guest today. And we even have a money back guarantee. So in writing, no questions asked. So we do everything we can to help you, land that first job in IT. And don't forget this, guys. Once you have a skill set, nobody can take it away from you. And that's what we specialize in, teaching people a skill set which nobody can take away from them. So why consider an IT career? Well, I would say this: quick employment in many cases. There's a variety of career opportunities. I'm going to talk about a few of those today. We're going to be talking about them. I'll be joined very soon here by one of our co-founders and our lead instructor. His name is Amit. He'll also be doing the interview with one of our alumni a little bit later. Amit also specializes in the placement program, which is something of vast importance, I'm sure, to a lot of you, because you might say, well, once I get educated, then I have to land a job. Well, he's going to walk you through how our placement program works, and it's everything we do is really designed to help you get started very quickly, and to land that first job. Also, keep in mind, September 7th. Well, we will probably mention this a few times today. September 7th is the start of our new 6-month boot camp. It's an accelerated course, and you will learn more in 6 months than it would take most people probably years to learn on the job. It's designed to shorten that learning curve, teach you everything you need to know in a very short amount of time. So, easy career growth. We'll talk a little bit about that. And higher salaries. That's what you probably want to really hear about is, making more money than what I'm currently making. I was thinking about this earlier, how we're about 5.5 years out from COVID, when it became like really worldwide, a really worldwide pandemic. Obviously it started in, 2019, but then it got really starting to spread throughout the entire world about February, March of 2020, if you recall. And it's hard to believe it's been that long. When I think about COVID, it really taught us a couple of things the pandemic did. And some of you might agree with this. It taught us that number one, tomorrow's not a guarantee. And by the way, how many of you would agree with that? Tomorrow's not a guarantee. And it also taught us that, we have to have a plan B. We can't be relying on certain industries that can kind of come and go, that haven't stood the test of time. And I don't think we can rely on our respective governments either. Well, it's almost like we really got to take care of ourselves. And, in the IT industry, here's why I'm saying that. In the IT industry, if you'll recall, a lot of companies out there were shutting down around the world. I mean, entire countries were shutting down. But in the IT industry, IT actually thrived. And the reason why it thrived is because this is my opinion. I mean, other than being, obviously offering something which everybody in the world uses every single day of their life, even if they don't realize it. But not only that, there were already remote opportunities available. So people were already working remotely, and COVID only increased those opportunities. And I asked this question before we got going as people were getting logged in to describe your ideal job opportunity. And one of the things I read was freedom to work remotely, freedom to work remotely. And that's a big thing. So there are more remote opportunities available right now than there have ever been in history. So if working remotely is what you're looking for, you're in the right webinar. Let's just put it that way. So there are some high paying, actually, I shouldn't say some, there are many high paying opportunities available in the IT industry where you can actually begin potentially, depending on your area, and 90,000 plus. There are folks out there who have graduated from our program and they're making 100,000 plus. Now, software testing is the area where a lot of people begin their career in IT. Let's talk a little bit about that right now, okay? So I'm going to give you kind of a high level idea of what a software tester does. So just as the name implies, software testing, you're being hired to, yes, you guessed it, test the software. Now, why do companies do this? Well, let's think about the various applications that you're accustomed to using already. So everybody on this call, whether you're watching it live or the recording, you've used, IG, you've used Facebook, you've used TikTok, you've used maybe you've got the YouTube app on your phone. Maybe you've got Uber on your phone. And I travel a lot and I use Uber all the time, okay? So whenever you use one of these apps, you know what an app that works is like. You try to use it and it works, right? It doesn't crash or anything like that. So my point is that's what you bring to the table. What you have already done without having an IT background is you've used technology. So what we're going to do is give you some expertise on top of that, put it all together and teach you how to do software testing. Now, why would a company want to hire a software tester and pay them so much money without even having a whole lot of experience? Well, because they don't want to introduce a product to the public without knowing that the product works properly, that the development team actually did everything they were supposed to do, like have the proper fonts, the proper colors, all that good stuff. So it's your job to go through it and pretend like, you're playing the role of the end user, the customer. You're making sure it's done correctly. So you're like an editor of a book, so to speak. The author submits the book to the publisher. You edit, you go through it, you make sure that things that if there are things that need to be corrected, you correct them. I mean, actually, you point out the corrections. Let me make sure I make that clear. You're not making the corrections, you're simply pointing out what needs to be done. In our industry, in our world, what you're doing is you're locating the bugs. You've all heard that term before. Now, a question you might have is, well, how will I know what to look for? I'm like, I've been trained, I've gone through your boot camp, but how will I know what to look for? You will be giving a list of what are called requirements. Now, a list of requirements is a checklist. Okay. You'll simply go through the checklist to make sure that everything is copacetic, everything's kosher, everything's the way it's supposed to be. Now, if you find a bug, the good news is you don't have to fix the bug. You simply let the development team know, hey, I found this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and they take care of it. Okay. So that's just kind of a high level view of what a software tester does. Does that make sense to you guys? Those of you who are on the call right now, this just kind of like a high level 30,000-foot view. Does that make sense? You can just give me a yes in the chat or just type in Y. That's all you're testing out the software before the public starts using it. That's all. Now, how do we do this? How do we actually teach you? Well, we do it just like what are you doing right now? You're on a Zoom call, right? So and we'll go through the times, the dates when our next boot camp begins, on September the 7th. But we do it just like this. A common question that people have is, well, I've got a full-time job. How can I do this? Or can I do this? Or, I'm doing something else. I've got a small family, a young family. Will I be able to do this? All I can tell you is many people in your position have. It's very common for our students to already have a full-time job or a part-time job. We've had people who were young mothers, in some cases, single moms. But to me, it's just all about, do you want to get it done? Is this something which really excites you? If it doesn't excite you, then hey, don't do it. If you feel like it's not going to change your life, then don't waste your time, because we want people who are looking at this as a potential career path opportunity. Now, after saying that, yes, we do record all the sessions. So, don't worry. If you're like, you know what, I can't make tonight's session, I get called into the office, or I've got to take one of my kids to the doctor. That's okay. Hopefully your child will be fine, and on top of that, you can watch the recording. But you'll have homework, all that good stuff, just as though you're going back to school, pretty much. Okay. So you'll be acquiring, as it says here, significant technical knowledge. Notice this: in programming, coding languages, and tools, all these things that you've heard about. Some you may have never heard about. You'll be learning all this in our crash course, so to speak, our boot camp in 6 months. And if you've ever been in the military, you learn a lot in a very short amount of time. The bullets are flying over your head, and you got the drill sergeants yelling at you. They're doing all that because once you are in the real environment winds up being easy for you. Or if you're in athletics, if you have a good coach, what does your coach do? Your coach makes the game harder, or I should say the practice harder than the actual game, so that when the game actually happens, you're like, oh man, this is easy. That's kind of what we're doing. So let me just walk you through the process here. What happens is yes, we will have a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, we will go through PowerPoints and all that. But I don't know, maybe some of you are like me and you can't just be told what to do. I have to be shown what to do. Maybe some of you are like that. So if it's something more complex, show me, tell me what it is you're doing. Show me what it is that you're doing. Then here's the other thing. Let me do it, and then you let me know if I'm doing it correctly. And you can type in the chat if you learn better that way. If you're kind of like me, where you can't just be always told what to do, but you got to be shown, and then you have to do it, and then you have to be told if you're doing it correctly. That's how we do it here. And there's actually science behind that. It's called experiential training. And that's what we're big believers in here. And after I just mentioned to you software testing a moment ago, well, that might segue eventually into a more automated field, such as what's called software development engineer and test, or SDET. There's also an automation test engineer, a quality analyst, test lead. Now, some of you might be looking at these things here and saying, well, I don't really know what any of that stuff means. I don't know what a test lead means or, a software development engineer. What in the world does all that mean? Don't worry, you'll learn all those things. So you'll be exposed to different career paths during the boot camp so that when you get to the point where you're graduating the boot camp and we're going to do everything we can to help you land that first job, yeah, you might just bypass software testing altogether. You might get hired in one of these other roles. A lot of people, though, it's a software testing role, and then eventually they wind up taking on one of those other roles later on. All right. Now, Course Report, which is very well respected in our industry, they have rated us, get this, notice this, 2023 Best QA Testing Boot Camp. We're very proud of that. In 2024, same thing. And then Career Karma, Best Software Testing Bootcamp for 2024. So we begin it again September 7th. And guys, that's coming here pretty soon. I've got these 6 screens here, guys, on my desk, and I've got this huge calendar on my wall here. I'm just looking up there, and yeah, I mean, you're talking about 2 weeks from now. And we do have some work for you to do before the boot camp actually begins. So don't procrastinate. If this whole thing makes any kind of sense to you today, uh, get it done. Sign up, and we'll show you how to sign up in just a little bit. All right. But a 6-month accelerated course, you get hands-on experience on actual projects. And the whole idea behind this is to give you that skill set. You're not taking this, for nothing. You're taking this because down the road, after you graduate, you're looking at a career path opportunity of in that 6-figure range. And I'm always excited about that because I love hearing the testimonials from our students who maybe they've never made $100,000 in a year. Now they're making 100 grand, after taking our boot camp for 6 months. And it may have taken them a month or two to actually land that first job after they graduated, but still, 6 months after they began the boot camp, 8 months, maybe in some cases a little bit more than that. Now they're making the money of their dreams, and they have remote opportunities available on top of that, which is awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring on my colleague here, Ahmed. Ahmed is actually one of our founders, as well as our lead instructor. And so what Ahmed is going to do is come on and tell you a little bit about himself, a little bit more about Neotech, as well as interview our very successful graduate Gherkin, and you'll be able to ask him some questions as well. So, Ahmed, you want to go ahead and take it away, my friend?
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for the great introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed. I'm one of the co-founders of Net Academy, and I happen to be a software tester. Actually, my title is officially Senior Quality Assurance Engineer. So, as Eric mentioned, we can get a lot of different titles. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. And I'll show you even more titles that our students have received when when they got their offer letter. All right, so I'm gonna start off with our program flow. Let me share my screen and hopefully you can see it. All right. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. We have our admissions team here so they can answer your questions. And even if you have a question for me, we will be having a Q&A section. And also, I encourage everyone to ask questions for our alumni, which will be coming soon. So let's get started, right? Software testing flow, as you can see on the screen, we start off with the manual testing. So manual testing is the essential part here. But do we stop there? Never. Then we move on to the coding and programming because why? You need to learn how to automate your tests, right? The manual testing is good. You can be a software tester. However, what brings the big bugs is the automation testing. So that's what we move on to. We don't only stop with the UI testing, which is the front end of things. We also do back end testing. So both end of things, right? That makes you a full stack tester. What does that mean? You will be also learning how to validate, how to test database and APIs. So that's really, really important. If you're in the market for a bootcamp, please make sure that these are all covered, okay? So because we cover it, and this increases your chances of getting hired drastically, okay? Do we stop there? Obviously not. Another important thing, this is a career change program, right? And what we do, we help to build your resume. We help with the interviews. We'll give you extensive knowledge, a lot of interview questions from every company, and then you will learn the topic and you'll practice the interview questions. Because why? Again, we are trying to get that job for you, right? And are we going to stop there? Nope, never. Career placement, this is really important. We want you to get that job. Even after you get that job, we'll be still there to support you. Because again, like this is that we become a family. So as long as you don't want to get away from our family, you'll be there with us. So these are some of the tools that we teach. We have Maven, Selenium, JUnit, GitHub, Java, Postman. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. We're teaching Java programming language, which is one of the most widely used programming languages around there. You might be asking, oh, is it the most simplest? Like, I'm not really. But regardless, we want you to learn about this. But one thing that I want you to focus on is please mark today and when you finish the bootcamp, and I'll show you the same slides, and you will learn not only these tools, even more of that and by heart. Like you will know these tools. So we are confident in that, that within this program, you will have no issue whatsoever learning all of these tools. Okay. So, but how does this work in, well, I mean, how does this learning will happen? So first of all, live classes. I want to emphasize this because we are going to be conducting live classes. They're not pre-recorded classes. They're not like just we giving you some documents. We will be handling all of the classes live. All the classes are also being recorded. So if you're not able to join at the time being, which I'm going to talk about the schedule soon, you can always watch it later. But during the classes and even after the classes, you will have the instructor, you will have the teaching assistants that will help you with any technical questions you have, so that you learn everything. You will have individual projects, which is where you can showcase your skills, what you've learned so far. You will have additional office hours where you can just come along, ask your questions, like any coding questions or any questions that you have regarding the testing processes. You will have lots of homeworks and tasks, some, again, the coding challenges, which is like my favorite thing to do. You will have a final assessment, which I'm going to talk about that, but it's like that's how we finish the program. Uh, a lot of review classes. You will have something called group project, and this is really important because this is where we simulate a real work environment. Okay, so you will work as a group, as a team, just like you would have it in a work environment when you get that job. So that's like a really, really important thing. You will have quizzes and you will have mentor sessions. This is also really important. Mentor sessions, our mentors are all seasoned software testers. Some of them are even like our, alumni that used to, our student. Now they've been working for like many, many years and they're helping us. But overall, they're all seasoned software testers. They're all coming from different backgrounds and they're all working in different domains, and they will be there to share their experiences with you. Okay. So let's get right into it. What is it? Our schedule. How does it look? So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. These are the weekday classes. But do we stop there? No. On Saturday and Sunday, we have 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. These are the classes that will be held on the Eastern time, also known as New York time. Okay. So if you're in the Pacific time, please adjust to that. That's going to be a 3 hour difference. But overall, these are the total classes that you will be seeing in total. Okay. And all these classes will be recorded. So if you, let's say that Saturday you are working, right? And you cannot make it to the classes. Does that mean it's a problem? Nope. You can always watch it because as soon as the class is done, you can always watch the class later. So that's why it's perfectly fine. We've had a lot of students who just like, they couldn't attend the live classes. They were still able to uh, handle the projects, handle everything, all the classes. They were still able to make it and get that like offer letter, which I'm gonna show some examples about soon. So let's do this. Let's invite our alumni, Gurkhan, and talk about his experience.
Hi, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Ahmed. Good to see you. It's been a while. How are you?
Hi, Gurkhan. So nice to see you too. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty okay. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful. So let's start off like a quick introduction about your background. Let me ask you this. Did you have any IT background before?
No, Ahmed, I did not have any IT background. I was doing some temporary jobs in the US. That was pretty challenging, to be honest. So actually, that was one of the reason I joined Neotech to, find a stable job.
That's amazing. But like, what did you do before, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, of course. I was having a e-commerce business. Also, at the same time, I was doing some Uber, some temporary jobs. That was not stable, to be honest. So best decision ever. This is a life-changing, process.
You're a hustler. I love that. I mean, we all did that. We all been there, and I know what you mean. What about now? What's your title right now?
So I'm currently working as a software QA automation engineer. It's been 2.5 years. I'm still working. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I'm gonna remind everyone, if you have any questions for Gürkan, please feel free to put it in chat. I'll forward it to him. All right. So I know this question has not been asked yet, but this is gonna come along for sure. So, which is the money talks. Would you be able to tell us like your salary? You don't have to give an exact number, but you can give a range.
Yeah, okay, sure, of course. So my salary is a little bit over six figures. And then also in my second year, I got more than 10% increase. I'm a hard worker. That's another plus. Yeah, I think at least in my area, the job starts over six figures.
That's amazing. Congrats on the increase. Like 10% is really good amount. I love it.
Yeah,
What about bonuses? Do you have like any type of bonuses or benefits?
no, Ahmet, I work with a consulting company. We work project based, so there was no bonus offer when I got the job. But I got increased. I think that's kind of equals to bonuses. But they provide all insurances, 401 and vacations, PTOs. They all provide.
Oh, okay. So you have the benefit package. You have the insurance, like health insurance, as well as the life insurance, maybe, and then the 401k and the rest of it. That's amazing. That's so good.
Exactly.
Let
Yeah, I
me
do
ask,
have all of them. Yep. Please
let
go
me
ahead,
ask you
Ahmed.
this. Did you have this when you were working for Uber or when you had your e-commerce, like the insurance, for example?
No, I was paying by myself, that's another plus. Actually, like there are a couple of reasons I wanted to become a QA. One of them is, salary, the other one, remote options. Companies also providing, insurances, 401 contribution. I think like compared to Uber or other jobs in the US, you can easily double up your salary.
That is so true. That is so true. And what about the job itself? Or like, is it remote position, hybrid, or in person?
So, Ahmet, I started as hybrid initially. I guess I worked like 6 months as hybrid. That was actually advantage for me because when you go to office or when you start hybrid, you kind of knowing each other, understanding project details. So I started as hybrid, and then 6 months later, it turned out to a remote role. I've been working remotely from last 2 years. Yeah,
I love it. That's so good. Look at that. 10% increase, turning the job into remote. Like you learned everything that we taught in the soft skills class, I guess. Like look at you. I'm so proud of you, Gurkan. Uh,
that's awesome.
that is so nice. But you mentioned something great, which I like it too. Uh, Hybrid positions are good because it gives you a chance to go to the office and learn about it. You can ask questions anytime rather than just asking for someone to meet on the Zoom. That's like really official compared to, you just going to the desk and hey, would you be able to help me with this? So I agree with you. I kind of like hybrid positions too, depending on how many days they ask us to come to the office, right?
Yep.
All right. So, and how long did it take for you to get that job, get that first offer?
Uh, it's been a while, to be honest. I don't remember exact numbers. I'm from batch three. I guess it was early in 2022. So, but I remember that my process took around 2.5 months, I applied as much as possible jobs, and I think I interviewed more than like 13, 14 companies, close to 15 companies. I completed their most of them, with most of them, I completed their final rounds. I got only one offer and I accepted right away. To be honest, like, so that was an urgent hiring. I got offer Monday, and next Monday I was in the office while I was in the background. Started working.
There you go. And you even like s- you were so successful that they keep increasing your salary. That's so good. I mean, and one offer is all we need, right? That's what I always say during the classes. It's not like we need five offers to proceed. One offer, you're safe. And if you want to look for another job, it's the best when you actually have a job at hand and you look for another job. That's like the best time to do it. Okay, this question I'm gonna ask, and you can be as objective as possible. It's like not us from here, like act like I'm not here. Uh, what do you think about the Neotech instructors and the placement team's support during this process?
Okay, to be honest, Ahmed, early in 2022, I was one of the students like this. Today's I also attended info session. You were very helpful. You answered all my questions. Supported us, and I also referred my one of my friend. He also found a job. I'm pretty satisfied, to be honest, with Neotech and the course perspective. I think it's well structured. As Eric and you mentioned, you guys starting from the beginning, and there is a step-by-step learning process, which is very good for those people who don't have ID background. So for me, it was like a puzzle, learning step by step. At the end of the course, I was pretty comfortable doing complicated things. So, and I think learning like Java, testing frameworks, Selenium, API databases, that's pretty enough. I'd like to give you one example. In my previous job, they kind of impressed my skills because we know a lot of things, and they impressed, with API details, database details. That's pretty enough.
That is so good to hear, and thank you for your kind words. That's like so precious for us. All right, let me go back to the chat and see if anyone is asking questions. No questions yet. Let me go to the Q&A. I guess not that much. I mean, this is mainly because you were really, you gave all the details. You didn't hide anything back, Gurkhan, so I appreciate that. But overall, like seeing you makes us like so proud, and I love the fact that you're one of our success story. If you guys like, if I'm talking to our prospects here, our attendees here. If you have been to our YouTube channel, you should be able to see different info sessions with like a lot of different alumni success stories that we've had with different backgrounds, and Gurkhan is just one of them. And you can be the next one, right? And Gurkhan, like I really appreciate you spreading the good word for us and referring your friend. That's like so precious. And I don't know who is actually your friend. I have to check.
Uh, it was Burak. Burak, do you remember?
Oh, okay. That's good. And he got a job too, right?
Yeah, he's still working. Yeah.
Amazing. See, that's so good. That's a good testimonial. We love
Yeah,
that.
Ahmet, also that's another plus. I also made a lot of friends from Neotech. I'm still communicating with them. This is not a school, as you mentioned. It's like a family, and I'm still talking with my friends from Neotech. And even though recently I renewed my resume, I changed something, so I'm still getting support from placement team. That's very good, to be honest.
I really appreciate that, and that's a great point. So our placement support does not really end when you find a job. We will still be there for you. We'll still help you to guide through the job market, even if you want to change your job. We'll be there to help you. Okay, I guess people are a little bit shy today, Gurkan, so I'm gonna let you go. But I really appreciate your kind words, and thank you so much for joining. Wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thanks a lot, and appreciate for your thoughts. And I'm wishing all the best to the new students. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, so what we will be doing, we're going to continue with the rest of the presentation. Okay, so we've been talking about this job placement. What is this, right? Job placement is essentially how we find you that job, and we will not rest until you get to that point, right? That's why I'm telling you, the job placement never stops. Like there is no time limitation on that. How do we do it? First of all, our mock interviews is a great way for you to practice your skills because, again, what gets you the job? Real interview. And we will have a mock interview that will be your final assessment to complete the program. You will have access to a lot of resume building materials as well as our placement team will build your resume, tailor fit to your background. Okay, so we will be doing that together. You will get lots of information about the market. That it will include how to apply for jobs, when to apply, which companies are really good at hiring right now. You will throughout the program you will have good amount of soft skills enhancement. So some of you might be actually already working in a corporate job and you know the drills, right? Like you know how to behave, you know how to attend the meetings, you know what to do in a virtual meeting. But for those who doesn't know, and like we have a lot of people who no background ever, and we will be also helping you with that too. You will have access to one-on-one mentoring. You know, I mentioned seasoned software testers. They will be there to help you. You will have access to our alumni network. So it's just like our success stories like Gurkhan. Whenever there's a job opening, guess who they reach out to? They reach out to back to us, and we will help with those positions too, and we'll help you with the salary negotiation. Even if you have like multiple offers, that's the best kind. Even if you don't have it, we'll make sure that you get the best possible compensation out of the offer that you have received. Okay, so that's what we do. So I encourage everyone to do a quick Google search and just put SDET, Software Development Engineering Test, and see what is the average pay. This is the Glassdoor, this is the overall US market, and as well as the numbers are not that different for the Canadian market, maybe 10% lower and like it's Canadian dollar, but this is how it looks. The best way to show would be the offer letters that we have like our alumni is receiving. So let me switch my screen here. So this is one of the recent ones, August 15. I had to black out the details because of the confidentiality reasons. I'm sure you can understand. And when I do this, sometimes the document is going crazy. So this one is $46 an hour. The first offer for our recent graduate, and 46 would make it to what I guess like over 95,000 annually. So this is a good start. We have another one from I think this person is also like supposed to start September 8th. Yes, that's what I remember correctly. But this one is slightly better. We're looking at $115,000 annually, and with like benefits again. We have this guy here. Let's see, 48. Again, this is like around 98,000. So a little bit short to the six figures, right? We have this guy, 135, but this one is in New York, so the cost of living increases, your offer increases just like the same way. But obviously, you can just get this offer, and if you kind of get that, uh, if you get that remote role, you can live somewhere cheaper too. We have this guy. I don't know what happened to this offer letter, like why, because of the blackout, probably 45. We have this guy here, 4,000 for the bi-weekly salary, so that would add up to what, $8,846. And you do the calculations. I'm really not that good at math, and multiply by 12 for annual salary. So we have this guy. This is 112,000. I'm gonna show this one too. This is $80 per hour. So we're talking about over, I guess, like 160 annually, right? Again, I'm not that good at the math, but we have many offer letters like this, and you can be the next one to receive an offer letter just like this one. Okay. So, what are the companies that our alumni is actively working? Like these are just some of them, and you can be part of it too. And there are a lot of different companies too, and like this even allows us to learn about the process for each of them. But like you will have the network for the alumni too. So we haven't started this yesterday. This program has been going on for the longest time. So if you want to can be part of one of these companies, you can always be. All you need to do is start on September 7 and try for yourself. So I'm seeing some questions. Let me just stop sharing and answer the question, and I'm going to invite Eric back for the fun stuff. The question is, how does getting jobs in countries you aren't originally from work? Again, this is I can talk in detail about this at the end of it, but overall, we recommend everyone to find a job where they have work authorization for. If not, there are like some ways to do it, but overall, that's how it works. Eric, back to you.
All right, thanks, Amit. So everyone should be able to see my screen here where it says average cost of IT education. Before we get into the tuition, let's do a comparison. And I think some of you can relate to this either firsthand, either you went to college yourself, maybe you didn't go to college. I mean, you don't have to have gone to college, I'm just saying. But what if you did go to college? Maybe you have kids that are on their way to school. You know how expensive university education is nowadays. I mean, it's insane. I mean, we have what, $1 trillion+ here in the U.S. of student loan debt. But notice this over here. You're looking at well over $30,000 a year for just 1 year at a public university. I mean, private universities could be, some of you know this, 50, 60, $70,000 a year. So you could have potentially at least hundreds, in some cases, 200+ thousand dollars in student loan debt upon graduation. Now, yes, you could get a scholarship. Yes, you could get a grant, something along those lines. But what if you don't? Or maybe the scholarship or the grant only covers a portion of your education. But here's the other part about this. Once they've got your money, once they've gotten your money, whatever university is, doesn't matter. It could be the University of Michigan, NYU, UCLA, Florida, whatever the case may be. Once they've gotten your money, you've graduated, do they have any incentive to help you land a job? Is there any incentive to help you actually get started in your career? And of course, we all know the answer is no. How many of you know someone who has a degree in a particular field and they have never even worked in that field? I have family who have gone through that. I have a family member who has a degree in psychology, a family member who has a degree in physics. They never had a career in that field. So we do things differently. Other boot camps out there are charging for their boot camp 13+ thousand dollars, and it might not even be market driven. Our boot camp is designed so that when you graduate after 6 months, and maybe you're like Gurkhan there, who, man, he applied to jobs for like, I think it was a month or so, and then he landed his first job. But everything he learned was relevant, is my point. We don't just teach you things to say, okay, we had a 6 month boot camp. Everything is relevant. You get people like Amet and our other founders who are actually out there in the real world doing it while teaching you at the same time. But other boot camps are like 13+ thousand. Ours is way down there as far as cost goes. And the reason why ours is not nearly as much cost wise like those are is because we have a very unique program. We have a very unique way of getting you involved. Now, watch this. So, our regular tuition is $52.49. Now, we do offer what's called an early bird discount. I highly encourage you to take advantage of that because there are some things that you'll want to do, which we'll help you out with before the boot camp actually starts. It won't take you much time, but you want to get prepared before you actually take the boot camp. So we have an early bird discount of $100 off. We also have a webinar discount. So this is by virtue of you attending our webinar today. We don't normally do these on a Sunday afternoon. This is rare for us. We only do usually a couple of these a month, and we decided to try one out on a Sunday afternoon here. So when you take into account the two discounts, you're looking at $5,049. But here's the thing: we don't require that up front or anything like that. So it's 7 monthly installments of $721 a month. Now, here's what we do, or here's how we keep that tuition really, really low. After you land your first job, which we will do everything we can to help you in that process, after you land that first job, the placement fee is then 85% of your first month's salary. Not 85% of the whole year, This is 85% of your first month, and even that is paid in 4 monthly installments. So let's say we help you land that first job and you're making whatever the case may be, you know, 10,000 a month. Okay. We're not going to take the whole 10,000 as a placement fee. It's 85% of that divided over 4 months. We want you to have as much money as you can, to live off of. But that's how we keep the tuition so low. It's just my point. Also, think about it like this, guys. We are incentivized to help you land that first job. So rather than you and us being on opposite sides of the table, we're now on the same side of the table because we're incentivized to help you land that first job. That's what's really the most important thing. That's what this whole thing is about. It's not just getting you educated and that's it, but it's helping you land that first job, helping you change your life, take care of your family, leaving a legacy. If you decide to have, if you decide to have kids, having, taking care of your kids and their kids potentially. You never know. So we also offer a referral discount to help bring the tuition down even further. If you are referred by a Neotech student or alumni, let us know when you are reaching out to us, and I'll give you the contact information in a second. We'll give you an additional discount on top of that. If you sign up in groups, which we encourage you to do, groups of 2, each student will get an extra 150 off. Groups of 3, an extra $200 off. If you have a group of 4, contact us. We'll let you know, and we'll get you an even bigger discount. We'll work with you on that. But we encourage you to sign up in groups if you can, because you can help motivate each other, you can help encourage each other, help each other out with homework, or maybe even help each other out with job opportunities. We have a very large alumni network here, but if you know someone that you met in the boot camp, maybe you guys will wind up staying in touch, for a long time. What if I change my mind later? That's a big question people have. Well, there's no deposit, there's no application fee. You don't pay anything, guys, until the boot camp actually begins. Our boot camp begins in a couple of weeks. You can cancel for free anytime until the boot camp starts. And then we offer a money back guarantee. So 100% refund if you decide to leave until you complete your first month. So 30-day money back guarantee if you decide to leave. So you can go through our program for a few weeks, here, and if you decide, hey, I don't want to pursue a career in IT, okay, then whatever you have paid, we wind up paying back, giving you back, and there's no charge. We don't say, okay, well, we'll take 10% or whatever. No, it's full money back guarantee in writing. Guys, we're making this as simple for you to get involved as possible. We have addressed every single objection I can think of on why somebody would not want to do this. And think about it like this for a second. If it's not going to be this, changing your life in the IT industry, getting trained by us, well, then what else is it going to be? What else are you going to do? And if it's not going to be now, then when will it be? Some people say, well, I have to get my ducks in a row first before I, would do something like this. Hey, no offense, guys, but none of you, including myself, we've never had our ducks in a row, right? Because as soon as you get that last duck in the row, what's that first one doing? He's already walking over here, right? So it's never going to happen. Life's never going to be perfect. So get it done, get it taken care of. Don't wait to learn more about the boot camp. Here's what you do. Go to neotechacademy.com/bootcamp. You can book a call with our admissions team, neotech.live/call. If you're not ready to call, just simply submit your interest by going to neotechacademy.com/apply, but secure your spot now. It's human nature to procrastinate. And the reason why people procrastinate, I think, is because of fear. They're just scared. Gurkhan there. I mean, he was probably at first a little hesitant, a little frightened because, what is this really going to be for me? And he's certainly glad that he did. You heard his story. And, now his life has been changed. So email us for any questions, team@neotechacademy.com. Schedule a phone call at neotech.live/call, or you can just call us directly, 929-566-3919. We've been doing this for a long time, guys. We have students that are all around the world, graduates really, that are all around the world working in IT. We're based here in the US, but we have graduates all over the place. And this will be our 10th cohort coming up here. So let's do a quick little comparison, and we'll take your questions. So if you're self-taught, how long will that take you? Who knows? It's as simple as that. Who knows how long it's going to take you? Because when people try to do things on their own, it's one of those situations where, it's just like a buddy of mine. I've told this story before. He bought War and Peace at some sale. I think it was a yard sale, but it was like a very fancy bound. It was real nice. He's like, "Oh, I got to have this." It was like an estate sale or something. And I used to joke with him, "So what chapter are you on with War and Peace?" Because he always wanted to read War and Peace for whatever reason. I guess because it's one of the longest books that's ever been written, right? And he would say, "Oh, I'm still on chapter one." This is like months later, and so it's human nature to procrastinate. Guys, don't procrastinate. This can change your life. Think about where you are right now and imagine where you could be 6 months from now. Imagine where you are now, 6 months later. Now you've got a skill set because you've taken our boot camp that nobody can take away from you, and you're ready to get your career launched in IT, the fastest growing industry, one of the, if not the fastest growing industry out there. Everything is tech related. You can't do anything nowadays without it being tech related. Guys, cars are on the highway driving themselves. Who ever thought you would see a day like that? So you go to university. Yeah, it could take 4 years. It could take longer than that. Who knows? If you get a graduate degree, online courses are self-paced. With us, it's very straightforward and structured. It's 6 months. Learning by yourself is very difficult to do because you're saying that you are the expert. I mean, no offense, but if you don't have a background in IT, how can you say you're the expert? That's like saying, well, I've never worked on a roof before, but I guess I can, I can probably, replace my own roof, to my house. No, you can't. Why would you even think you could do that? You'll just mess it up and you'll have a bunch of leaks. So why do you think you can just teach yourself something in an industry like this? I'm not saying you couldn't learn anything on your own, but why would you even want to do that? I mean, the time and the money is going to take you to do it on your own. It's just like, you go to university, you spend all this time. I mean, it's not just the money, it's the time. You're spending in a university 4 years. That's 4 years of your life. And you might not even be taught by someone who has any background in the industry. I mean, I took business classes in school. I don't think my professors ever started a single business. Online, you're not really going to get much just trying this on yourself, by yourself, or doing something completely online. University, I'm not saying there isn't any value in going to university, but it's a lot more money. It's more theoretical. You're not getting taught by industry experts in many cases. And here, look at what we have: technical support nearly 24/7, one-on-one mentorship. You've got the learning community, this alumni community. And again, everything is market driven. We're teaching you what you really need to know, is what I'm getting at here. So what I'm going to do is bring on Ahmet here. Guys, I promised we would try to be done in about an hour, and we are right there on that hour mark, getting pretty close. But we'll take the time here at the end to answer any additional questions that you might have before we completely wrap up here. Kind of a small group this time because we're doing it on a Sunday afternoon. But any last questions you guys have, just fire away and we will answer them.
I guess, yeah, today, because it's a Sunday, right? It's kind of everyone's chilling, but I can assure you Sundays are definitely more relaxed when you have that IT job, you know. You can just worry about the Monday meetings, but that's about it. Having a like not being, I mean, I also come from a background where I had to work through the Saturday too. Like having that 2 days, like, well, having a 40 hours a week type of uh corporate job where you get paid six figures with like a lot of benefits, it puts you in a really, really comfortable situation. So like I hope everybody is able to taste that. And obviously the way to do it is the NLT Academy. All right. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions regarding the pricing, regarding any type of, referral bonuses that we have, or, our next program, when it's going to start, the right contact is here. You can just go to our website and schedule a call or call us directly or shoot an email if you're shy talking on the phone. That's all good. And we're more than happy to answer all your questions. I guess no questions. All right then. Eric, thank you so much. And our dear attendees, thank you so much for attending and watching this. We'll be looking forward to seeing you in our classes.
All right, take care, guys.